Because you can say you're accountable to yourself, but let's be honest.
Who is?
You all say you are until you lock that door,
right.
And then it's a whole different world. Mm-hmm. The difference between a lot of this is...
I'm accountable to a lot of people.
Nobody wants to be, though. Right. That's like, it's such a big problem in the world today.
It's ego.
So like I've had multiple coaches. That's what, and I still attend the coaching sessions that they have live on the classes that I went to.
Right.
And I watch and I learn and I grow, and I don't listen to the radio. Right now I'm listening to another psych book in the car on the way here, on the way to work. That's what I listen to. Mm-hmm. I don't need to memorize the next great song unless it's Jelly Rolls, dude. I got you. I mean, in reality, we are simple people. We're very simple. The brain is very simple. It runs off the unconscious, but we don't spend time to retrain it. Your personality is based on your personal reality. So if you are surrounded by negativity, stupid people, all of these things, right? Like if you're surrounded by this and then you wonder why your life sucks, but you're focused on every day why your life sucks. You're not focused on what can I do differently today? What can I change about my life? Who do I need to push out of my way?
And that's what I hate to hear the most is you said a minute ago, I don't have time for that. Like, you know what I mean?
I love it.
Or, you know, and you ask somebody what their day looks like, and it's just like, you don't have time. You literally just had 9 hours of nothing. You know what I mean? It's just...
And sleep is important. I don't want people to take it the wrong way. I still get a good solid 7-8 hours a day.
Okay. Still. How many hours you got left if you get...
1,000%. That's what I mean. I laugh when people say, I don't have time. And I say,
work and I got this.
Let me draw you a map of my day and then tell me why you don't have time. Mm-hmm. When my day, like I wake up hours before I have to go to work.
And that's the thing right there.
Because it's quiet time. It's me time. I don't have to worry about anything but me. I'm married. When my wife gets up, it becomes partially about her. Like I want to pay attention to her because we're married and I love her and that's what I do, right?
And if she got up the same time as you,
we would be divorced.
Anytime you're doing anything good, well, or you're succeeding or you're making some gains in your life, there are people come out of the woodwork to try to tell you how you're doing it wrong.
I was actually just listening to that.
I know that all too well. All too well.
I was listening to Jelly Roll, who we're going to find you and you're going to come on the podcast.
Jelly Roll, come on.
He was doing an interview and the guy that was doing the interview said, how do you deal with the haters? And he was like, I got kind of excited because the haters only show up once you've actually started to succeed. Because until then, they don't care about you at all.
Arrived.
So when I started getting that hate, I was like, yeah, I've arrived, right?
Right.
That's when you know. Mm-hmm. Because that's part of the journey. People are so afraid of that. Like I had to talk with my wife. I said, you understand when this takes off, some negative attention is going to come with it.
Yeah.
That's just the nature of the beast. Are you okay with that? Because this is the journey that I want to take. However, we're in this together, and I want to make sure you understand. She was like, absolutely. Off we went. So haters, come on down. Join us.
It's kind of like Eminem and 8 Mile. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When you put it all out there, like I have, like you put it all out there, like what can I say? Like, you know, and when they do, you're just like, yeah.
You just disarm the enemy.
That's it.
Right? It's like you can't say something about me that I've already said about myself because you're just trying to tear me down, but I've already accepted it.
Apparently you have not.
Because I had that talk with somebody. I did a lead over at one of the facilities here once. The guy came out afterwards and he was just like all angry about his 4th step and that his sponsor had like released all of his information. And I was like, so what? Like, who cares?
Right.
What is in there that you are so concerned with? Are you concerned with that, or is it like this trust that was broken? Accept it, move on, get a new sponsor.
Right.
Don't let one thing predict the rest of your future.
Well, and then there's the other side of that coin too, where we as addicts and alcoholics, we're looking for that one thing.
Oh, absolutely.
We need that one thing just to blow it all off and say, "See, I told you so."
We were like an excuse slot machine.
That's it.
Waiting for that thing to hit the jackpot.
I can get drunk now,
Yep.
you know, and I'm no different, man. I'm no different when it comes to that, man. So I do have a firm belief that you don't see things how they are. You see things how you are. You know what I mean? You don't see the truth.
Well, I've said this to you 1,000 times. I remember you saying to me once this certain thing, and I said, you choose to be that way, Marty.
No, 100%.
Like, maybe I'm this, and I'm like, maybe you choose to be that.
Yeah, and that's how it works. Like, I see the things like that I want to see, right? Mm-hmm. It's those little things that creep up in your mind, the scenarios that creep in your mind about who you are and who you are not.
Right.
that eat away at you subconsciously. You don't even know it. And then it becomes a reality. Then it becomes your belief system. And then next thing you know, you're acting on that belief system, right? You're staying in tune with how you believe. And it just takes, and that's why we talk about therapy so much. That's why we talk about you being a coach so much and doing these things. Iron sharpens iron. Like the horrible thing is, if you're in any kind of affliction, whether it be mental health or substance use, like, you can't do this stuff alone.
Right.
And the same thing, and the same goes with life coaching. Like maybe you can do some stuff alone, but how much better is it if you got somebody in your corner who isn't like co-signing all your bullshit, who's calling you out and who's making you aware of certain things, who's making you aware of your belief systems or when because it varies. It goes offline. Sometimes I got a mindset to go from A to B and I'll turn to C, D, and F real quick and not even know it. And it just takes somebody to slap me in the face and say, look, man, no, hold on. What was that? Well, what are you doing? What do you even care for? And you're like, oh yeah. You know what I mean?
Well, it's like the reason why pilots have co-pilots. It's the reason why drivers have navigators in serious races.
Why people in recovery have sponsors.
Right. It's the whole point. It's accountability, right? Because you can say you're accountable to yourself, but let's be honest.
Who is?
You all say you are until you lock that door. Right. And then it's a whole different world. Mm-hmm. The difference between a lot of this is
I'm accountable to a lot of people.
Nobody wants to be, though. Right. That's it's such a big problem in the world today.
It's ego.
So I've had multiple coaches. And I still attend the coaching sessions that they have live on the classes that I went to.
Right.
And I watch and I learn and I grow, and I don't listen to the radio. Right now I'm listening to another psych book in the car on the way here, on the way to work. That's what I listen to. Mm-hmm. I don't need to memorize the next great song unless it's Jelly Rolls, dude. I got you. But I don't, and then I take a break and I will listen to radio every now and then just to let my mind relax, because the brain is lazy. Mm-hmm. It doesn't want to do all of these things. So it's what's easiest. And so what you do is you retrain your unconscious to be the new lazy version that you want it to be. Mm-hmm. You got to get rid of the past, though. Therapy works on the past. Coaching works on the future.
There it is.
So I always tell people, work on your past. Figure things out. When you feel like you're stuck and you don't know how to get unstuck, come see me and let's get curious about what you want your future to look like. But you can't just want it. You have to become it.
And that's the importance of a coach. And any coach will tell you, it's just like with everybody wants to be something, wants to accomplish something, but they don't want to reach their hand out. And see, I always say this, man, I said this the last time, if you want to become a mechanic, you better start hanging out in a garage with mechanics. You better go to school for mechanics. You better read some books on mechanics. You don't watch some damn YouTube videos on how to rebuild a carburetor.
Unlimited information.
You know what I mean? It's
accessible to us.
Just like with anything.
Free.
Iron sharpens iron. If there's something you want to accomplish, something you want to do, something you want to be, somebody has already did it. So go find them people. Go find your peers and surround yourself with that. Right. And I promise you, it's just like the whole saying, if you want to be a millionaire, hang out with millionaires.
Yes.
If you want to be a drug addict, I guarantee you, all you got to do is go hang out with drug addicts.
It'll happen real quick.
And the opposite side of that, even if you don't want to be a drug addict, this is a good point. If you don't want to be a drug addict and you're hanging out with drug addicts, you're most likely going to be one anyway. You know what I mean? You are the sum total of your 5 closest friends, the 5 people that you hang out with, that you talk with the most. Yeah. You are going to be the sum total of that, whatever that is. If you're around a bunch of negative, excuse-giving, 44-ounce pop drinking, McDonald's loving, Netflix watching, that's what you're going to become. And if you want to be great, if you want to be somebody who's an entrepreneur, if you want to be in long-term recovery, you go hang out with those types of people.
Right.
And I promise you, just through physics alone, you will become that.
Well, so many people are attached to being good at things. You can be good at a lot of things, or you can be great at one.
Yeah.
Because greatness doesn't come in many forms, right? Jack of all trades, master of none, that kind of scenario. So I decided that I want to be great at life. So I started taking life
that's such a
by the bull, though. You know what I mean? And I'm being dead serious.
Right, no, I get it.
Life had kicked me so hard so many times that I was tired of it. And that leads me to number 2. And they go together. If you want to be successful, become a good problem solver. So what I started with first was my problems.
Okay.
Once I got a handle on my problems, why my head was operating this way, why my negative thoughts were taking over, why I was having horrible relationship situations. Here I was blaming the woman. Oh yeah, it was just a bunch of out there. You know what I mean? Less than ideal women. And then I'm like, wait a minute, I'm literally attracting those things. So why am I blaming the women when that was what I asked for?
Yeah.
So once I started accepting that my responsibility lied with me, and I started dealing with my problems, it just became my life. If you don't remember what the fight started over, then it wasn't an actual fight. Right. You guys were just in a bad mood and you were miscommunicating. A relationship is like a dance. And sometimes people get tired and they step on toes. They didn't do it on purpose. And that's where people draw the line, is like, I feel like you're just passive aggressively doing something to me. If you genuinely feel like that about your partner on a continual basis, that is the wrong partner for you.
While I do agree, right? Everybody's got some things in their life. I can't think of anything off the hand. Don't look at me and point your fingers at me, because I don't have anything off the hand.
Yeah.
But there's all kinds of stuff in our past that we wish to forget, and maybe even through wishing to forget, we did forget. You know,
now there's a difference between, if you haven't brought it up, and that's another thing in a relationship, is you can't dive into someone's past looking for a problem on either side of the fence.
That's what I feel
most people do.
I feel that's a dangerous ground, because I have had that bite me in the ass before.
Right.
You know, I've told things that, you know, like early in a relationship, you got all the laying in bed and just talking. You just talk.
Yeah.
And talk.
And talk.
And talk.
And talk about nothing in reality.
And then later it seems to bite you. And it has. I didn't say it always will, and it won't, right? But if you're not with the right person, those things, you know, if the person has, you know, problems with jealousy or insecurities or stuff like that, that shit can come back and bite you later on.
1,000%. You run into exes, you deal with things, like a lot of things happen that are completely out of your control. Yeah. And these people get jealous and weird, and I'm just like, what are you doing?
Well, see, that's my thing too, is like, why spend so much time in the rear view? Like, why spend so much time in negative thoughts? Or, you know, I'm in this place in my in my life right now where all I'm thinking about is today, and I think it's kind of it may not be a good thing, you know, because I live in this space always. I've never been able to hold a grudge against somebody. Right. Somebody has done me completely wrong,
right?
You know, just screwed me over. I've never been able to hold a grudge against people, and I don't know if that's good. I really don't. I don't. One is because I'm the type of person that can get in an all-out argument, maybe even a fist fight, and then 30 minutes later, never ever think about it again.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, I don't know if that's good though. I don't, because some people, you know, they need to live in that, and they need to heal. The word I hear, you know, we hear nowadays is it was a trauma in their life, and they needed to heal from it, and they need to heal from it, and they haven't healed from it. And I just, as much as I understand, I work in treatment, and this is why I'm not a therapist in my treatment facility.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Is because I can't quite wrap my head around that, because that's not how I am. Now, I understand drug addiction.
Oh, yeah.
I understand what leads to drug addiction, and I understand that I hired professionals to deal with that with them.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
am not the one, right? Healing, man, and getting through trauma. I live in a space where I got so much going on in my today that I can't think about that yesterday. I can't.
Well, that's another thing, is if you were still holding on to anything.
So many people are.
If you're holding on to anything from one of your exes, and I made this mistake, but at least I was honest up front.
Yeah.
I told my wife that night at dinner, I am not going to trust you. I have trust issues. Right. I want to. I believe that I can. But I know through the history of other relationships that I've been through a lot, and it's going to trigger some emotions that 1,000% are not going to be fair to you.
It's going to come up.
But it's going to come up.
Yeah.
I want you to know in that moment, you can tell me to get the hell out of your house, or you can sit there with me and allow me to just be an idiot and let me deal with it. And if you can provide me that safe space where in that moment we're not in a relationship or friends, because you need to have a dividing factor. There needs to come a time where you guys are lovers and where you're friends. and they have to separate at times.
That's a concept.
Because there's a lot of emotions that are involved in the lover side that aren't involved in the friendship side. Friendship allows a lot more space for honesty.
I deal with people in addiction daily, all day long, right? And I would say close to 80, if not higher percentage of those people are in some kind of a relationship. And I would say 90% of those, if not more, are toxic, in so many different forms. It's a toxic relationship, and it's just, you wish that you can explain the toxicity of that relationship to somebody, and it's really not something that nobody's ever. It's just learning that you yourself are toxic is one thing. Becoming aware of it while you're in that toxic state is another thing.
It's very difficult because that's how our brain works.
It's comfortable.
When you can predict the outcome of something, then you can live in it.
Yeah.
Because you know what's coming.
And then
I stay with him even though he beats me because, he hasn't broken my face yet.
Well, there's always when he's not, he's a really good person.
Right.
Or,
we justify the outcome because we know what's coming because everybody hates the unknown. So we get comfortable with the crappy known.
Well, there's 3 stages of that. And that's like knowing that you are one in a toxic relationship or even different, knowing that you are a toxic person. And then becoming aware of when you're actually acting out in those toxic behaviors. And then the third and perhaps the hardest is changing those toxic behaviors. And it's not something anybody that is such a long process to realize your behaviors are toxic, to realize that your behavior is not only toxic to your spouse, but they're very incredibly toxic to you. And this is why we always say to people who are in early recovery, the last thing you need is somebody, a man or a female, or, the last thing. You are broken. You've done a lot of shitty bad things to yourself. You've done a lot of bad things to other people. You've been in nothing but toxic relationship in your whole addiction. And the last thing you need to do is grab onto something else and say, okay, this is going to fix me if I just have this, because you get incredibly wrapped up in that. And then you become incredibly codependent on the way that you feel when you're around that person.
Yep.
And that is not working through your problems. That's latching on to something else. And that's your fix, right?
Absolutely.
And that becomes your addiction.
But that's another thing that people need to understand is that you hold responsibility in the relationship. You cannot blame the other person and say it's your fault. We don't do that either. We don't play the blame game. We're not keeping score. We're not trying to find out who's at fault. There is a conflict happening. We are both in the situation together. So if anybody is at fault, we both are. It is our job as adults, as lovers, as a married couple to go through this together. This isn't, you're the one causing the fight all the time. If I've allowed the fight.
How many of you people out there have said that?
I'm guilty of it.
I think I said that the other day. Honestly,
you know what?
Let's break it all back. Let's back up a bit, because listen, I don't want the thing I fear the most. Because, we talk about recovery.
No, I want to hear the
recovery, right?
I'm all for rebuttals. Let's have it.
Well, it's not necessarily a rebuttal. It's just like, if you happen to be in a relationship and it's getting boring, do exactly what Brian says. Or you're having issues, right? Communication. Figure out, what your yeses are and what your nos are, and stick to those and communicate.
Ground rules, boundaries, communication. These are basics.
Communicate why those are yeses and nos and all that. But if you're not, what I hate, and it just drives me crazy is, shit, I'm going to offend somebody right now.
That's okay.
These people that are out here and on Facebook, and they're in 7 relationships in a year, and they're with the love of their life, right? And these are people, and I just look at this and I unfriend them every single time because it's just, people are looking so much for a relationship that they want a relationship that they'll grab onto the first thing.
So I'm going to share
the first thing
about this with everybody.
It's not. I just want to say this though, quit looking for a relationship, because every time you're looking and seeking a relationship, you're going to grab on to the next guy who googly eyes you,
You're going
or
to see the
likes
things
your,
that you want to see, and you're going to completely bypass the red flags you're not in love with the person. You're in love with the idea of.
And so many of these relationships fail, and they're in love the next month with somebody else, is because they're not looking. They don't fall in love with the person. They don't just happen to meet this guy or woman and they're like, oh my God, this is great, this is awesome, and then they work through all the crap that you need to work. They are just like, I need a relationship because I'm lonely and I'm bored and I'm miserable, and oh hey, he looks good.
That's what I was saying before. If you're holding on to anything from your past that is going to be carried immediately into the relationship that you cannot let go or be honest about, like I was just dating someone 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Try that for once and see if that person remains the same, because they're going to pull back because they're like, that seems strange. 2 weeks ago, and I dig through your Facebook and see this, I love you. Oh my God, I found the one. Like I found the one of one of one of one of one.
Yeah.
I found the one part of my team. Like I don't really know what that means.
Being selfish does not mean you're going to be an asshole to everybody else.
No,
and you're going to cut people off. No, you're going to be selfish in the way that you are going to be selfless at the same time.
When you read the definition, it sounds very negative. You have lack of consideration for others. You're only doing it for your own. Yeah. But when you are at a max level of that, then what? You just give it away for free. Well, that's the best part.
That's the thing. You cannot fill from an empty cup, right? When you're in an airplane and you're about to go down, you put your oxygen mask on first, because you cannot help anybody if you cannot breathe.
Right.
And that's the metaphor for it, is like we're out here trying to help and fix, and fix is a big part, right? We're trying to fix things and we can't even breathe.
I'm so afraid of losing what I work so hard to get that, well, then you're doing it incorrectly, in my opinion. If you know that you are always going to be, then you just keep going.
Yeah, you're always going to be okay.
No matter what, I'm just going to keep going and keep going and keep going. But if I've got nothing to give you, then why do you want me to say yes if there's nothing there? Now who's being selfish? So I argued that point. Now who's being selfish?
And really, the majority of the time, people that don't know any boundaries are saying yes for selfish reasons.
Yeah,
they're saying yes to make themselves feel better about something, even though history has taught them that when they say yes, they don't come through.
Right.
History has taught them that they do not fulfill their yes when they do it, and then they become that friend who always says he's going to be there, and he's either
super late
or he's super fucking late. You know, he's super late. He doesn't show up, or he's never there when you need him, and he's always got something else to do, and he's always got excuses. He becomes that person. And that's because you don't know boundaries. Like I have no problem. I say yes to I got this motto now. If I haven't seen it, tasted it, or touched it, or tasted it, right? If I haven't done it, seen it, or tasted it, I'm going to say yes to it, right? That's my motto. But I have a strong no. Like no, I can't do that. No, I don't want to do that.
Right.
No, I won't help you move. I've helped 150,000 people move in my life, and I think I've filled my quota.
Yes.
I'm not going to help you move. I'll let you borrow my truck, though.
Because that's what happens, right? When you are full, then it doesn't matter what they have.
Yeah.
Then you're not keeping score. You're not building these weird
you don't need nothing.
Dynamics. You're like, no, man, I'm good. Yeah, sure. I'm there because my day's good. Like
I'm not needy.
I'm full by 10 a.m.
All right.
So the rest of my day is just giving stuff away every day. But I get up at 4, selfishly. It's all about me. And I know that it's all about me. So I get up way before my wife does, so that it doesn't create an awkward space for people. You got to find the right way to be selfish constructively, so that the other people that don't quite understand it yet. Now my wife could care less now. She knows exactly what I'm doing from 4 to 6:30. But I'm so full by 6 that I'm like, here, I'll make your coffee. I'll do this. I'll make the bed. You know what I mean? It's like,
that's an analogy right there. Like at 6 o'clock, I can make your coffee.
Yeah.
When I get up, if she asks me to make coffee when I get up,
yeah,
I am all about me getting coffee right now.
Right.
And I hate that you asked me that, and now I have a resentment.
She asked me
an hour and a half later. I have no problem.
I've already manifested. I've already journaled. I've already done some research. I've already read some books, and I'm like, good to go. It's 6 a.m. when most people are trying to crawl into bed, and I am ready to give it away. By 10 a.m., I am beyond full, because as soon as I get to work, it's boom, 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 me. I'm going to make sure I'm in the right place, and then everybody around me wins.
Yeah. So I love it.
So many people look at me just like this. What?
Oh man,
It's got a negative connotation, and it's not one.
It's people need to get over that too, because there is selfishness that is negative, right? And like you said, I think it's greed.
It's selfish
right?
turns to greed. It's because
greed,
those people have fear in their selfishness.
But slowly those people weed themselves out of your life because you realize that those people don't show up for you.
Well, the thing is, what they have, they don't deserve, and they know it.
Yeah,
so they're afraid of losing it.
Yeah,
that is typically when selfish turns to greed. I know that I deserve everything that I have.
Yeah.
I'm very aware of it. So I want it. I'm going to make sure I have it. And then I want to give it away.
Yeah.
Because there's just too much of it. You can only do too much. You can only do so much for yourself in reality. And that's why I'm saying, like, by 6 a.m., I'm like, make your coffee. I'll help make the bed. I'll do whatever. I'll take out the trash. Like, I'm good to go. And then I've given some stuff away, and now it's time to fill back up. So I know I'm headed to work. I'm going to fill back up.
But at 5 a.m., she actually do those things.
5 a.m., I'm not done yet. If you want coffee, I'm sorry. We do this at 6.
I get that.
It's not a bad, and she knows that it's not coming from a place where screw you. She knows that I'm just not ready yet. And if she woke up at 5, something's wrong. Because she doesn't want to do that. So if she wakes up at 5 and the only thing she wants is coffee and not like an ambulance, then that's a different scenario.
I might get the coffee.
There comes a time when you have to sacrifice, and that's okay. I'm not saying it's like if somebody's in an emergency and there's something that's totally different.
Yeah.
But in a general space in life, I care about me. I care about in reality. If it were me or you, I am the one that has to be this person when I die. So I'm going to be okay first.
Yeah.
I do not owe you anything. You don't owe me anything. I expect the same thing out of the people that are around me. Take care of yourself first. I don't want you around me until you're full.
Well, and that comes like really because if you got, there's a the saying you got to get your shit together.
Yep.
Right. That's a very broad spectrum on what that actually means, and I think when you're around somebody that doesn't have their shit together, it's that. It's not like they don't have a good job and they don't have a good truck and they're not driving and they don't have they're worried about their phone. That's a byproduct of it. When somebody don't have their shit together, it really kind of it's kind of a toxic environment to be around. Because they're always the people that don't have their shit together. Most likely they're going to be playing a victim role. Mm-hmm. Most likely they're going to have excuses for things. You say something to them, they're going to be on defense because they don't have their shit together.
Most people that don't have their stuff together are people that, when I'm having conversation with clients and they feel like they don't have it together, what I find most often is they're so concerned that they know what's best for someone else. They're so concerned with knowing what's best for someone else that they've completely lost sight of themselves, and they don't understand why everything's falling apart. Mm-hmm. And so I'm always like, why aren't you selfish enough? And they go to this negative space, and it's in everything in our life, every language, which is why I don't have a problem with cursing personally, because I'm not saying it to tear someone down. It's just what I call passionate. That's what I do. That's what it is. It's not, I believe in God, and that's a conversation I'm willing to have with him because he knows my heart. Yeah. So I'm not worried about that conversation. I don't even think that's going to come up because it's just words.
Of all the things in the world.
Right. We got plenty of other stuff to talk about.
Do you remember in 2016 when you said
the F word to your ninth grade teacher? Nope. You know what I mean? Like, I don't worry about the little things. The Bible tells me not to worry about those things or really anything, right? Put your trust in me. Take away all your anxious fears. These were all the things that, like, if you read the Bible and pay attention to the Bible, there's a lot of knowledge in the Bible. And I'm not trying to Bible thump. I'm just saying there's a lot of core beliefs in it that make a lot of sense to me. And it makes sense to me. And this is how I live my life. And I happen to be winning very well.
Any ancient proverbs, which is a lot of, not even the book of Proverbs, but a lot of the ancient proverbs. You can take it back to the Indian proverbs. You can take it back to the ancient. There's so many different types of proverbs, and you look at those, and those are all formulas. They're all ingredients for how to live and how to have expectations and not have expectations in your life. Mm-hmm. So I think the book of Proverbs in the Bible is like it's amazing. I haven't read it in some years now, and now I'm thinking about going back to reading it. But there's all kinds of other proverbs.
A Bible that we bought 2 Bibles, me and my wife, that we're going through again to just read it again, go from front to back the way it's supposed to be read, whatever you say that, and make notes and study it and ask questions and dig into it and just have a conversation about what it looks like for her and for me, because we haven't done that yet. Like, we both know our belief system, but we haven't taken the time together to like have conversations about it.
Can we talk about aliens? Can I come over and talk about aliens?
Yes, we can definitely talk about aliens some night. But
extraterrestrials, not people from other countries.
You go all the way back to the golden rule, which they used to teach in like kindergarten. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you.
That's an ancient proverb.
I want the best person in the room to show up for me.
Yeah.
What that means is I need the most selfish individual, the guy that went to the gym every day, the guy that trained every day, the guy that fed his brain as much knowledge as possible to show up for me. But I'm not going to get that if that person's not selfish. I need that person all about them so that when they show up for me, I get all of them.
Yeah.
You got to be all about you before you can give all of you.